Oh, so I got revealed everything that I needed to get the fucking answers I needed. So I just went upstairs, went to go deliver the clothes, which, by the way, I had ate before delivering the clothes. You know, didn't need to threaten to fucking abuse me in order to get me to fucking do something. You know, you just jumped to the assumption that threatening abuse tactics was going to get you the results you want more expediently. But now let's talk about the conversation that was just fucking had. So I just went upstairs. I just showed Petco's website. And I showed a screenshot of Meowawana catnip rolls. Alright? Now, a roll means pre-rolled joint. Alright? Now, there was a little incident that happened in junior high, and the resonance of said joke is very much having real world ramifications now. Alright? So let's go over this. She ends up starting to laugh, and I said the factor that this was catnip. Alright? Now, one of the active herbs of catnip is Damiana. Alright? Ultimately, pre-rolling that, going ahead and giving it to the cat, cat rolling it, eat it, however so. you know? But ultimately, their end result is just to get high as hell. Alright? So she ends up asking me, do you remember in junior high when ended up finding that baggie of the herb on the counter? I was like, oh, you're the baggie of oregano, yeah. You know, that whole thing could have had some major legal implications. She's like, no, let me tell the story, all right? If you remember the guy, that ended up staying over right before. Oh, you mean Richie Wood. Rich. Dick. All right. She's like, yeah. Well, he ended up going to the guidance counselor. What was the guidance counselor's name? Dr. Dorman. Dr. Dorman. Yeah, by the way, that was a fun dynamic to have to go ahead and explain how every lunch period I would end up being there, and I would be given a can of soda for basically not going and retaliating against the people that wanted to go ahead and constantly provoke a fight. But continue on. Alright, well, he ends up saying the factor that you need to come down to school. Matthew's not in trouble, but we need to talk to you about an incident, involving another student. So said, apparently they found something on the counter. So she says, I know what's going on. I could explain. I'll be right there. All right. Goes down to the school with a thing that the cap of oregano had busted. Puts it in a sandwich, so it's in a sandwich baggie. And she ends up going ahead and showing it. Now, keep in mind, the principal hasn't come yet. And she says to the guidance counselor, so I know what this looks like, but it's not what it looks like. All right. This is oregano. I use it for my chicken soup. So he starts laughing. And then the guidance counselor says, wait. Don't anyone tell the principal. The principal was Mr. Newfield. So nobody tells the principal. Principal walks in, face bright red. Like we're talking like having to hold back from corporal punishment levels of red. All right. So she goes to say to him, wait, before you get mad, before you react, this is not what it looks like. It's oregano. And then she ends up saying, oh, well, yeah, I could see how that misunderstanding would end up happening. Now, ramifications from that quote-unquote joke. All right? Like, for example, before leaving New York, because my quote-unquote best friend at the time was fucking my quote-unquote girlfriend at the time, so obviously, in the aspect of best friend, if that's clearly the best that I could do, my best was pretty fucking pathetic. And as far as girlfriend, with friends like that, who the fuck needs enemies? So, I end up going. I literally get a gift card that I could give a shit less what I do with. It's a $5 Amazon gift card. I'm thinking, what could I potentially do to be able to get the most happiness out of this $5? So what do? I order a big ass bag of catnip from Amazon. All right. The reason why, because I was having to deal with getting harassed on a daily basis by a bunch of assholes who, anytime I left the house, wanted to make my life as miserable as possible. So ultimately, that ended up proving that people really are shit, and animals are a hell of a lot better than human beings could ever be. So, I had already came to that conclusion long before that. So for me, I used that $5, got some catnip, knew where the general location of the stray kittens, on my road were. Brought some catnip there, basically used the catnip to breadcrumb to lure them towards my house. Went and would do things like, for example, getting a can of tuna, cans of, cat food. Like, literally, an excuse for them to stop by, and an excuse for me to be able to go ahead and love on them and everything. Well, simultaneously, why didn't you just keep one of the cats? Cat allergy. But it's the dander being trapped inside the enclosed space that ends up activating the allergy. So, outdoor cat, absolutely tolerable to the allergies. Indoor cat, I'm going to slowly asphyxiate, and hives are going to be apparent on a common basis. I'm going to look like I'm going through puberty 2.0. Ultimately, I'm going to end up having octave shifts. I'm going to look like I'm breaking out from, using some of the harshest water to go ahead and bathe myself, because of the factor I will look like my body cannot stop popping up blackheads like it is going out of fashion. But ultimately, because of that quote-unquote joke in that circumstance, my license is indefinitely suspended because of real-life ramifications caused by her wanting to repeat the same fucking joke. Alright? So now, you've literally got drug cartels that have been formed because of the utilization of that joke, and it being used as an actual trafficking technique. Congratulations. You have created a new way for drug cartels to be able to actually distribute and manufacture while simultaneously having plausible deniability and getting, unwilling and unknowing participants to be able to engage, while simultaneously causing investigations by doing stupid shit. Like, for example, when somebody went to go crash into me going 50 into 30, putting a fucking sandwich baggie of oregano to try to be like, ha ha, remember that joke? And then going ahead and saying, find somewhere to stay before I go to New York. And I told her, I've been trying. You went to go put roadblocks up to be able to block my way of being able to go forward, while simultaneously wanting to complain that I am not fucking moving forward. So ultimately, I'm sorry if you designed your fucking entrapment to be unthinkaroundable. But ultimately, understand your fatal flaw is your fucking mortality, because if you die, there's no one to undo the shit. But at the same time, if you fucking provoke your fucking homicide, no one could talk you out of doing stupid shit. They just need to hope that natural selection clarifies what was your fault and what wasn't.